Hey guys, this is your very last video for this unit for weather and climate. And this video is called simply climate. We have learned all of our foundational pieces up to this point. This is what we've been building towards. So last week we worked on air masses and fronts, and we learned that air masses are basically a collection of air that has the same temperature, the same moisture content, and the same pressure. And we learned where those air masses can form. They can form over the ocean or they can form over land. They can also be tropical or hot, and they can be polar or cold. And then we talked about how those masses collide with each other and they create fronts. And the fronts are what causes our weather. The different temperatures, the precipitation, the storms, the things that we experience. Well, in a particular area, over time, over the course of a year, you're going to have specific amounts of temperature and precipitation. And when we do that, when we look at the long-term trends, it's no longer weather from day to day. It's long-term, which is going to be climate. So let's take a look at that. So climate is, again, the average long-term precipitation and temperature of a particular region. This means that it's going to account for any severe changes. If we've got really high temperatures and really low temperatures, when we take the average, it kind of evens everything out. But an area's climate is going to be affected by several things. First of all, the latitude. Where is it located on the Earth in relationship to the equator? Because remember, the closer to the equator, the more direct sunlight and the hotter the temperatures are going to be. It also can be influenced or affected by the altitude, how far up into the atmosphere you actually are living. If we're on a mountain, that altitude is going to change the temperature and the type of precipitation and how much precipitation you actually have. The third factor is the distance to large bodies of water. This could be the ocean. It also could be a very large lake. Because remember, water's specific heat is a lot higher than land, so it can absorb and release the energy with very little temperature change. So even like a place like Detroit, Michigan, which is up north, the latitude should tell us that it was a cold place, but it has pretty mild temperatures because it's located on one of the Great Lakes. The fourth factor happens to be the prevailing winds. So the global winds that are going to run through and they're going to carry these air masses. So remember, specific heat, the global winds, and the ocean currents, all three of these ideas are going to work together and interact in order to influence a location's climate. Now, our climate can change, and we have some events that will cause different types of weather and different types of climate changes. And one of those is called El Nino. El Nino is basically a warm water event that occurs in the Pacific Ocean. The warm water is usually over by Australia and those islands in Oceania. But during an El Nino, the trade winds are going to switch and they're going to blow that warm water over by South America, which normally has cold, very nutrient-rich water. And when it does that, it's going to completely shift the weather patterns that are occurring. Floods may happen, drought, we see more weeds, temperatures may be higher or lower depending on where we're located. For Texas, an El Nino is going to bring cool, moist weather to us. And an El Nino takes anywhere from 2 to 7 years for that entire shift of the warm water to come over to our side of the Pacific. We also have specific catastrophic events that occur based on climate. We've got areas where warm air is going to come from warm ocean water. And you guys know that certain times of the year, that water is going to be heated even more. Well, in the Atlantic, low pressure systems can sweep across the Sahara Desert and go out to the ocean. And the warm water fuels this, creating ultimately hurricanes. Hurricanes come from the warm water, and once they get on land, they lose their energy, moisture, and they weaken. Hurricane season is June 1st through November 30th, and they're categorized based on their winds, rain, and huge storm surges. So this week, we're looking at all parts of climate, and that's a wrap.